Welcome back to Against My Better Judgment, the podcast for two friends.
I'm Tamara Golden.
And I'm Dannelle Whiteside. Tell the truth, share the lessons, and laugh about the moments that we knew better but did it anyway. Each week, we share real stories about our lives, about the times that life surprised us, stretched us, or just straight up humbled us, and the lessons that we learned along the way.
And this season, we're calling it Just Because. Today's episode, we'll be talking about just because I'm asleep doesn't mean I'm rested.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to talk about it.
I'm very interested in this one. It's so true, though.
Yes. So, what's been going on, girl?
Well, you know, I got an invite to something fascinating. So, one of my friends' mother survived the Holocaust.
Oh, wow.
She was a child survivor of the Holocaust. And I was invited to hear her speak at Ainsworth. And, I mean, it was absolutely I'm you know, there's some stories you just don't want to hear again. There's certain things you don't necessarily want to relive again. But to hear her tell it, her name is Miss Francis.
How old is Miss Francis?
She has to be like 88 or, you know, in that range. Because I think she was born in 1934. I'm trying to remember the slide. I think she was born in 1934. So however old that makes you, I think it's 88, but it could be like 86. But in any event, it was fascinating to see all the things she kept, to understand her disconnect from her parents, and for her, it was just so, it was an incredible story. And to see those students at Ainsworth and from neighboring schools listen and ask such great questions. It was very fascinating. And when I think about the Holocaust, a lot of people know that I like history. But when I think about the Holocaust and when I think about slavery, there are a few things that I can draw parallels to with slavery. And it just always makes me think about, at what point did humans lose their humanity? Like, it always starts stirring that in me, and it continues to stir it in me. And everybody who talks to me for the next 2 weeks, they have to hear that, and it just stirs it up for me. So it was interesting, but that's it was a highlight of my week, but a very difficult topic by any
for
measure.
Sure. Yeah. But you bring an interesting point, because when I was in Scotland and Manchester, the tours were always, we would have different points of the tours where they might talk about, like, you know, the Scottish and English fighting, and, you know, the king cut somebody's head off. And so to your question about when do we lose our humanity, I actually don't think we ever had it. I think we've actually only progressed toward more humanity, because if you think about the history of people, they've just not been kind to each other.
Yep. And
that was very apparent to me as I was listening to these stories. I'm like, we've never been good people. And for me, you know, coming from a faith background, it just is like, I think that's why, you know, we need God, because I think he's having an understanding of and faith, like, really helps you to love your neighbor. And if you really are walking that walk, because like I said, we've just not been nice to each other.
No, totally.
I mean,
totally.
even the ancient Christianity killed, you know, people got killed in the name of that. Like, they were having a lot of wars, like religious wars. So it's just, people are not nice. And so you just have to be grateful for living in a society now where at least we pretend like we have laws that, you know, preserve humanity.
Yep.
So anyway.
So that was the highlight of my week. Like I said, people are so tired of me talking about this, but I can't help it. It's just what's on my mind right now. So how was your week?
Well, this week my brother was here, and so he flew back, but we got to hang out a lot. Like, he would come sometimes in the evenings, because my boys are like Uncle David crazy, so he would hang out with them, and then later on we would get to hang out. But I always do this thing when he comes in town, because whenever he comes in town, he's never still. He's always, I gotta go see my friend here, I gotta go to this event here. I'm not minimizing what he did, but he went to somebody's funeral, and I was like, look, man, this person is gone. Come be with the people who are alive. And
that's humanity.
See. So anyway, but we got to, so I always do this thing like, you're giving me your Wednesday. So I took off half a day and we went to lunch and just, had this, like I always say, like, what's going on with you? He'll check in with me, and then
he's so easy. He's a great conversationalist.
Oh yeah, I mean
he's so easy to talk to.
Yeah.
I like people that you can actually have a conversation with, and you don't always have to have a cocktail or a hot dog in your hand, So I appreciate that.
Yep, that's that Gemini trait for you. We can talk to anybody.
Well,
you don't believe it?
I think you can.
You? Okay, we're gonna leave it there. All right, so just because I sleep doesn't mean I am rested. So do you keep track of your sleep score?
I do.
Okay, so we both have Aura rings. This is not a sponsored podcast, but my goal has been to try to get my sleep debt to 0. And I have failed sometimes. Like right now, I think my sleep debt is at 2 hours. And I'm like, how did it get like that? Because I had gone a couple weeks where it was 0. And so anyway.
Heartburn?
No.
Okay.
No. But basically, your sleep debt is like how much you owe yourself in sleep. So do you have a regular bedtime? So some of the metrics that this device tells us is like, okay, what's your what they call chronotype, like what's your time type? And usually so far since I've been wearing it, I have a later chronotype because I usually go to bed between like 11. I usually go to bed around 11.
Wait, the first number starts with 11? The between?
No. Like that's usually when I start sleeping.
11?
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about. Because somebody was asking me, like, are you tired when I got back from my trip? And I was like, actually, I'm always sleepy. It doesn't matter. And that's why. So I've been trying to push my bedtime to even 10. But here's what I wanted to talk about. Because I had never heard of this before, but someone in my class told me about it. It's called revenge bedtime procrastination. Have you ever heard of this?
See, I don't hang up. Like... These people in your class, no. People just come up with stuff.
No, it's a thing.
I've been in school. How many schools you've been to? I've been to all these schools, and I've not heard that.
Okay, it's a term. It's the conscious choice to sacrifice sleep for leisure time because you feel you lack control of your time during the day. So this is what happens to me. When I get up in the morning, and I want to be an earlier riser. Like my mom gets up at 3:30. Yes.
Why go to bed? Like, why?
So she gets up, she does a lot. She'll mop the floor, she'll cook, she'll do a lot of stuff. And then like around like 7, she'll lay back down for a early nap. And then she'll get up probably like 7:30, 7:45 when Ronan gets there. And then she'll be up through the day. And I think she goes to bed like 9 or 10. I would love to get up earlier because when I get up, once the times that I finally do get up, the kids are awake. I don't have any moments to myself except in the car. And because I usually get up around like 6:30, between 6:30 and 7. And so then when I get home, it's trying to get everybody ready for the next day. By the time we put them to sleep, I have only about maybe an hour. If I really push my bedtime to like 9:30, 10 o'clock, then I've really only had about 30 minutes of leisure time. And so this is what revenge bedtime procrastination does, because it's like, well, I could go to bed, but I didn't get to watch my favorite show, or I didn't get to do this thing that I wanted to do. And so then you just keep pushing your bedtime. And that's how I typically end up going to bed 11, 11:30, midnight.
Well, are you sleepy at 9:30?
I'm always sleepy.
But are you bedtime sleepy? Like, it's when I think of like being tired, but are you bedtime sleepy?
I could go to bed at 9:30.
You really could, and go to sleep.
I've never really had a problem like going to sleep. It's actually, one of my friends was like, I'm envious of you because I hit that pillow and I go to bed. Like that. And it's like, no, when I'm down, I'm down. I can take a nap. Like, I've never had a problem sleeping. Okay. It's just my problem is like actually making myself go and get ready for bed. because I'm usually just, and I really think, I feel like Ronan broke me because what was happening is I would stay up to try to catch his last feeding of the night, which was around like 11. And then I would end up pumping and then falling asleep on the couch. And then I get up at like 2 o'clock, go lay down. And so like, I just haven't, my sleep really hasn't gotten back on track since Ronan was born.
Do you have a routine though, a sleep routine whenever you do decide to go to bed? Or are you a person that does fall asleep like on the couch sometimes?
I fall asleep on the couch,
Really?
yeah. Like, cause again, I'm like, oh, let me catch this show that I missed.
Well, look like the show's catching you.
It is, cause I'll watch it and then wake up, it's like 1 o'clock. And then sometimes what happens is like, me and Andre will both be sitting on the couch and then he'll wake up and then he'll go to bed, and then I'll get up and I'm like, why did he leave me out here? And then he's like, well, I tried to wake you up. And I'm like, if you tried, I would have woken up. Like,
how do you know you were asleep?
What he says, he might say, hey,
that's trying.
Hey, no, but you like, hey,
but when you that sleep, if you were that sleep is sleep. If you were that sleep,
but you're not resting
unless your neck doing something like that, I'm gonna let you sleep.
But you're not resting when you're sleeping on the couch.
I will say this then. I have a friend that with her, like, there's a routine. Like, I know what time this kid's going to bed. I know what time this kid's going to bed. And they are very rigid and disciplined around their kids' bedtimes. And hearing you talk, I can, because I see, I hearing you talk, I can see how that benefits them, because I know that I can go kick it with them at 8:35, because I know that her oldest son is in bed at 8:30, period, point blank. So I might get me a text between 8:35 and 8:40, like, because they're just so disciplined and rigid about that bedtime.
Yeah.
And kids do need sleep, but I will also say you need sleep. I think it's the spice of life. I think longevity comes with sleep. Like your mom going to bed at 9 and getting up at 3:30, that's not enough sleep.
Well, I think some people, like, you need less sleep, I think, as you get older.
Is that it? Okay.
But, and so I don't think she's always, like, when I was growing up, she didn't always do that, but certainly once we were out of the house and like she could control her, and she retired.
And
like,
she can take naps.
So, but yeah, I think when we just had one child, he had a pretty strict like 7:30 bedtime, and then I had like the rest of the night. But here's what happens. Here's the real of it. Because my husband is in charge of bedtime routine for them. I'll be like, hey, it's 8:30. He's like, okay, I'm gonna give y'all 10 more minutes. And then
Andre, I'm not gonna let it go down like this.
That's what happens. And so I think I told myself the other night, I was like, you know what? Because school's about to start back in a few weeks. If I say, hey, it's time to go to bed, and then he doesn't move, I'm just going to get up and put them in bed. Because it really is a difference in all of us when they're in the bed by 8:30. Yeah. That means that, and actually, when they're in the bed by 8:30, they actually sleep longer in the morning versus like if they don't get in, because sometimes it'll be like 9:30.
Oh, they going to bed with grown folks.
Yes, they are. And so then Donovan is up at like 5:30.
Oh, no.
So anyway, we just need to get it together. And then that would give me time to like do my little procrastination and still be able to get in the bed by like 10.
Mm-hmm.
So
do you equate, because I'm in bed about 10:30 routinely. That's my chronotype. Now be real clear. Sometimes because I'm not a sound sleeper, if I go to bed too early, I'm not going to get to sleep. Like I'm not going to fall asleep. So I might as well be up. So usually about 10:30, my body says it's time. It's time to go to sleep, because I wake up with the sunlight. So as the sun rises, I can have on a mask. As the sun rises, my eyes open. Yeah. So, but yeah, but it sounds like you're equating sleep and rest, and those things are different.
Well, yeah. So we're mostly talking about sleep, but I sleep. I don't feel rested just because I'm not getting enough sleep. Mm-hmm. And
what about your activity during the day? Because sometimes it can balance it out.
In terms of like,
do you have energy even though you're sleepy? Do you have energy?
No, I do. For what I do, I have enough energy, but well, and it just depends, because there's some days that like around 2 o'clock I hit a wall. I feel like I'm gonna go to sleep.
Okay.
Standing up.
Okay.
But yeah, I need to rest better. And you're right. Like one of my classmates gets on me. She's like, you're not going to make it to old age not sleeping.
You're not.
Because when I look on the little chart and it talks about your heart rate, it's like your heart needs a chance to recover. And there's so many things that your body does to help you recover during your sleep. And so, it's just so important to be getting the right amount of sleep and having healthy sleep habits.
My dad's sleep adverse.
Really?
Yes, this man will fight this. Yes, like when he's visiting here, he goes to bed because I go to bed. And when it's time to go to bed, I will turn out. You could be watching. There's an end to everything.
Like if I'm asleep, we all sleep.
But he will go to bed when he's here, and he'll wake up when he wakes up. But at home, you act like, you would call him, you think he's an owl. He will not go to sleep. I think he must, I don't know if has bad dreams. He keep thinking like something's going to happen in sleep. Like, I don't know if my mom is threatening him in his sleep. I have no idea, but it is incredible. He will not, and he'll call you a party pooper if you go to sleep before him.
Well, we're going to have to go to bed because, for long life.
Yeah, no, that's important. That's important. Sleep's important, y'all.
Yeah. So get your rest.
Yeah.
It's vital. All right, so we're gonna move on to the Will Be the Judge segment, where we give our qualified yet unqualified opinion. And this one comes from Simone. Simone has worked at the same place for almost 10 years. A job opened up that would be a promotion at my company, but I'm not sure I even want it. It comes with more money, but also more responsibility and a lot more stress. Part of me thinks I should always be trying to move up. The other part of me likes my life the way it is. Is it okay to choose peace over a promotion? Simone.
Wow. I think it takes a lot of maturity and a lot of courage to pick peace over more money. I think the measure of a lot of things, like when I hear people growing up, Simone, and they're like, ooh, I want to be a doctor and a lawyer when I grow up. Well, when you think about dying young, when you think about stress, when you think about suicide, when you think about these things, it makes you beg the question is, okay, but why? Because I can make a lot of money. Well, become an influencer if that's your goal. Like, my whole point is that at some point you've got to determine what's going to be here at the end of the day, and you only get you only get one vessel. So, I think it's a personal decision, but if you can make it, I wish I would have made that decision earlier, but frankly, by me not making it earlier, it has allowed me to, it's a full circle. So make the decision when you can, but it takes a lot of maturity and a lot of courage and a lot of faith to do that. So.
Yeah. I would say interrogate what your hesitation is, because sometimes that's a fear response of like, I don't know if I can do it. And if that's the source of your questioning of not feeling capable enough, then I would say give it a try. Like, don't count yourself out. But if you've looked around and you're like, the person who was in that job before was very stressed out, the money wasn't worth it, and you're able to quantify, like, it's just not, this is not conducive for the life I see myself living, then I would say it's okay to choose peace. But just make sure that that's why, because sometimes I've looked at, job postings and I'm like, well, that sounds stressful, but it's really because I'm feeling, that I maybe don't have what it takes. And that's never true. Like, you can go far, you have what it takes. You could probably do this job. And so if it is,
was she offered the job?
She said a job opened up that would be a promotion, but I'm not sure I even want it. So I'm not sure whether they're giving it to you or not, but I'm saying like, if you're really saying you're not sure you want it because you're just like, I don't know if I'm ready or whatever, like, you probably are. If if it is even an option for you to go into that promotion, it means they see something in you that means you're capable, and you probably are capable. Like, we learn up. That's how we grow. Yeah. So if it is just averse to maybe being maybe having a learning curve and needing to put in work to be proficient at this next level, then go for that. But if it is like really like the last person was stressed out, that her boss is terrible, I don't want to put myself in that situation, then choose your piece. Absolutely. So yeah.
Yep. And it's we did an episode about failure and whether we failed, and some of that might be in this.
Yeah.
Just I think that's great advice of just think it through and make sure that you're making a decision sounded.
But one thing I will say is I used to think, oh my gosh, I just passed up a once in a lifetime opportunity, and there's no such thing.
No.
Opportunities come around all the time. So you pass this one up, you might have to wait a little while, but you'll, put in your mind like, okay, here's how I want to feel in my next assignment. Here's what I want to be working on. Here's write out a fake job description of like what you want to go into, and it'll come, it'll appear. So, weigh your options.
That'll be great.
Yep. Okay. So against my better judgment, what did you do, girl?
Oh my gosh. So yes, against my better judgment. So, we had a 4-day week. So it's a 4-day week, and I started thinking like, what am I going to do with this 4-day week? So
you couldn't just rest.
Yeah, it's only so much sleep you can get in it. So I was like, I literally thought, and I was like, ooh, I wonder if I can build a whiskey cabinet. And so I had this.
Let me tell you something. If I had 4 days.
No, I had 3 days.
If I had 3 days.
It didn't come
It
off.
would not ever cross my mind to build a whiskey cabinet.
Well,
I can think of so many other things.
Man, I was so excited. And I was like, okay, so what do? I go to AI. So I had a vision, but it was still in my brain. And I needed AI to make sure I was using the right things to make it sturdy, to square it off, because I didn't know the details. I just had a vision in my brain. And I was like, I want it to be huge. I want it to be a statement piece. I want it to be huge. So I made.
And you couldn't buy one?
I don't know, but it wasn't an option at the time. So I made a 8x4-foot whiskey cabinet. So it's rectangle, and I had an old barn door. So I was like, I want to repurpose that door into a sliding door on the whiskey cabinet. So I had this vision, and I started. Well, it took me 6 hours to get the materials, and my parents were out of town. So I had my dad's truck because I had taken them to the airport.
Oh.
So I was able to get my materials. The part that's two things are against my better judgment. So I went to 2 stores, I'm just gonna say it. I went to Home Depot and I went to Lowe's because that's where I went. Facts. So I went there, and the guys were like, how are you gonna get that loaded? And I'm like, you're gonna help me. I mean, it's your whole job. So
is that a question?
Correct. So I won't even tell which store that happened. So I got everything loaded. And then I went to another store to get something else, and it was starting to rain. And the guy's like, you're going to need what do you do? The things that strap down stuff?
Oh, the bungee cord?
Sort of. Yeah. Let's just say that. And he's like, you're going to go buy one. I was like, no. I was like, y'all have to have these things thrown around from equipment returns and stuff like that. He's like, no, you got to buy one, ma'am. I said, I saw somebody that looked like my daddy that worked there. So, I said, excuse me, sir, but do y'all have any of these extra like bungee cord type things? He said, tie downs? I said, yeah, tie down. He's like, oh, we get them all the time. They always leave it in the equipment. So I looked at Doofus and was like, see?
Hello.
So I did that. So I got it loaded. I was proud, in the truck, headed home. This stuff has to be unloaded.
And you by yourself?
Yep. So, against my better judgment, all I had to do is ask Deontay, Richard, Nick. That's all I had to do.
You also could have backed out one of your cars and put it in the garage.
No, it was too high because the way they had to do it, it wouldn't have backed in.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's a good thought. So, and that's where I was going to work. That's my workspace. But anyway, so I unloaded that stuff and hurt my neck. So even to this day,
that's why you couldn't.
Yes,
you didn't even tell me. Oh, that's what you wanted to save it for the.
Correct. If I didn't hurt my neck, so now I can turn this way, and I can turn this way, and I can do this a little better. But if it didn't hurt my neck from my right jawline, like it's coming like all the way from here down my neck down to my trap, and it feels better. But so against my better judgment, I did that. The other thing I did that was against my better judgment is to decide to build something of that magnitude on a 3-day weekend. Why? Because I obsessed about it. So once I started, I just couldn't get it off my mind. So I woke up, I went to sleep thinking about it. Like when I left the birthday party,
you didn't get rest.
So after I worked on it until Shannon's birthday party.
You left early probably.
I came home and I did not make it back in my house until like 9:30 that night.
Wow.
Like I obsess about it because I refuse not to do. Since I started it, there was no backing down, and I needed to get my car back in the garage because it was parked because I was using it as my. So that's the other thing is it was too big of a feat for one person because I know how my brain works for that amount of time. So because first of all, the cabinet is beautiful. I just noticed it a little while ago, and you have a barn door on the other side of the wall. It's like a decorative piece, and it matches that. So I'm like, you really planned this out. Yep.
So I thought your dad helped you.
So that's going to be a whole nother story. So Dad came in, mind you, I'd worked on it probably I'd say about 50, 55 hours before they got back in town. So I obsessed about it for 3 full days, like I'm saying 12-hour days. And then when I got off work every evening, I'd work on it to about 9:30, like from about 6 to 9:30 every evening. Then Dad came in, which was perfect because there were certain parts of it that needed 2 people.
Okay.
Like the back needed 2 people. And Dad came in also like the railing needed 2, like there were certain things that needed 2 people. And the other thing is Dad cleaned up some stuff that I'd messed up. Like he cleaned up like, oh, this is not as square as it needs to be.
Okay.
So he was able to clean that up. And frankly, the big thing is he was able to help me get it in. Like none of that crossed my mind.
You were just going to bring it in as big as
I have a dolly. Like yes. So yeah, it like I said, a lot of it was against my better judgment, but I will tell you, looking at it, I feel real good about it.
I mean, it's beautiful.
So
it's beautiful.
So
good job on it.
Thanks.
But man, you almost hurt yourself. Like, well, you did hurt yourself, but you recovered.
I feel like I have TMJ. Like, it's weird.
You need to go to the something.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm not gonna do. I looked it up, and it's just a muscle strain. I asked ChatGPT.
Girl, if you don't go to somebody.
I will if I'm gonna give it 2 days.
It's been more than 2 days. It's been a whole week.
What are your takeaways?
My takeaways is you need to take yourself to the something. Chiropractor, therapy, something.
I might do a chiropractor.
Yeah, they can just, you're not doing it. I
might. I'm serious about that.
Okay, because what we need to have is your back working and your jaw and everything
Isn't that something?
else.
The weird thing is my jaw.
Yeah, no, whatever you did.
I think whatever it is, it's just going up and down this area. So.
Yeah, and we need to be, you're going to be in your mediation trying to say, okay, what are you? And then barely turning.
Man, you got me.
But you did a great job.
Thank you. And thanks, Dad.
Was it worth it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so
I think so. If nothing's permanent, it was worth it.
Well, it better have some whiskey in there.
Hey, don't you worry. Don't you worry.
All right, so what are you taking away?
Takeaway, you need to take your butt to bed. Like, I think that it is the easiest medicine, the panacea for most things is rest. And if you can't figure out, if you are not resting, that is your number one priority, is figure out sleep. Because if not, your body will figure something else out. Our bodies adapt, and they need what it needs.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good to bring to the forefront.
Yeah, and I need to get my sleep debt down. It's probably not going to be tonight because I'm probably going to stay up and watch something, comedy or something. But
and it's Saturday.
See, yeah. So, but we'll get it, and it's going to be a priority for me moving forward of just getting this sleep schedule back and advancing my chronotype to a little bit earlier. So thank you all for joining us. And if you want us to judge you, send us an email at againstmybetterjudgmentpod@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook and Instagram at againstmybetterjudgmentpod.
And if there are any stars, we only like 5 stars. So please share the link, like, click, subscribe, and give us 5 stars, y'all.
Yep.
See you next week.
See you next time.
Bye.